Have you ever wondered what to do with an empty keg? You either clean it, sanitize it, or do both of those and then keg some beer. And to wash our kegs, we need a couple ingredients. So, we're going to be using this, which is a destainer. It's a PBW that they sell here in China. And in addition to that, we are going to be using star sand. So once we get that prepped, we'll come ahead and wash a couple of kegs before we keg. So I just pulled the two kegs out of there. They're almost empty. Over here I have maybe 2 pints, less than a pint. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clean those two out. But I'll do it after dinner and after we play with the kiddo, so we can have some family time. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is going to prep some water with PBW, which stands for powdered brewery wash. It's a non-caustic alkaline cleaner used to clean brewing equipment. In this case, we're going to use it to clean kegs. Now you use around 3/4 of an ounce for a gallon of water to clean kegs. You have to prep the kegs before opening them. That means release the CO2. If it's really stuck on, put a rag over it and release the CO2. I forgot to mention, you should also be using hot water, so around like 140 would be perfect for it. And we're just going to let it soak, or in my case, I have a keg washer from SS Brewtech. I let it go for about 15 to 20 minutes, just cleaning on the cleaning cycle. Once you have it open, make sure that you clean and disassemble the ball bearing posts. So the one marked up, that's for the gas in, and the one that's smooth, that is for the liquid out. Once you assemble the ball lock posts, don't forget the poppets and the springs and the silicone rubbers. You should go ahead and tighten them down firmly. We're going to do a freshwater rinse, and then after the freshwater rinse, we prepare another batch of water with star sand. So what's star sand? It's a high foaming acid-based sanitizer, and it's used to be clean and sanitize surfaces. It's odorless, flavorless, and biodegradable. And for the most part, it's really safe. Now, one thing I'm not doing here that I strongly recommend, use latex gloves or nitrile gloves. As far as measurements go, I use roughly 1 ounce of star sand for 5 gallons of water. So in this case, I'm using 2.5 gallons, so I only use half an ounce of star sand. Now, once your kegs are clean, you're going to go ahead and get everything ready for kegging. So I tend to put a couple of pans right next to my fermenter just so that the floor doesn't get all dirty because I live in an apartment. Bring over the kegs, and I make sure that I swish the star sand that's inside the kegs once again so it coats everything, and then I empty one of them out into the other. Then I push CO2 in the full one to the empty one. That way I ensure that the keg has CO2 in it and it's star sand and there's no oxygen inside. So in other words, it's a CO2 purge. In addition to that, I'm cleaning the transfer line. So now I could use that transfer line to connect from the fermenter to the liquid out when I do the under pressure transfer. When I'm doing the transfer, I make sure that I let go the initial fluid from the fermenter because most of the time it does have sediment stacked up on it. I go ahead, clean the nozzle again, and put it onto the keg. Once it's connected, there's going to be no oxygen between the fermenter and the keg. I open my CO2 tank and push CO2 to the fermenter, which pushes the beer from the fermenter to the keg. In this case, I had roughly about 10 and a half, 11 gallons of beer in the fermenter. So I was able to keg 2 tanks, and I'm putting them into my little beer fridge. So now I just have to wait for it to get carbonated, which it'll take another 4 to 5 days. So have you ever done this before? If you have, what do you do differently that I should probably adopt? Or what have you taken from this video? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get to brewing. Laters.